birds and bully them all. I don't mean to be scorned. My soul's a feather easily born. My heart easily worn on the sleeve, so easily torn.
This is live. This is 5 on 20 News with Jamain M, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It's Monday, November 27th. Let's talk local headlines. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake urged fellow Republicans on Sunday to refuse support for Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore. Moore was accused by multiple women of sexual misconduct when he allegedly made advances when the women were in their teens and he was in his 30s. 14 and 32 respectively. Moore has denied the allegations and refused to drop out of the race, even as many Republicans have called on him to drop out, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. However, the president appeared to support Moore, saying that, quote, he totally denies it and saying that it would be a disaster if a Democrat won the state. Of course, someone saying that they didn't do it means they didn't do it. Alabama will hold their special election on December 12th to replace the Senate seat of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Trump also tweeted over the weekend that Democratic challenger Doug Jones is a puppet for the Democratic leadership. However, Flake said he would vote for Jones over Moore and called Trump's decision to support Moore a big mistake. Coming in at number 7 of our reasons why we need the border wall. Seizures of fentanyl at the Arizona border rose over 600% over the last year, according to Customs and Border Protection. Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid that's often mixed with heroin. A few salt grain-sized pieces of the drug can be fatal, and overdoses from fentanyl doubled last year, with 13 overdoses occurring in Pima County this year. The drug is 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine and can be ingested through accidental contact with the skin. Ingredients are often shipped from China to labs in Mexico and Canada, where they are then smuggled into the U.S. About 50% of the fentanyl seized in the U.S. was found at the Mexican border, while 40% were found at seaports and airports inside the U.S. and along the Canadian border. Before 2016, the Arizona port of entry had no fentanyl seizures. All of those seizures are due to Donald Trump. In opposite day news, someone thinks that taking a day off of work to wait for an inspector is a bad idea. There's a new system helping coordinate care for the homeless in Tucson. Several local nonprofits include in their missions, among other things, to help homeless individuals. While there have been good relationships between organizations, there has not been very much coordination. Nonprofit agencies have always used their own forms when processing those in need. Sometimes it is not until the end of filling out the form that the agency realizes that it doesn't have the services to help the person in need, and they send that person to another agency. A new computer system makes intake procedures the same for 30 local agencies. For example, if one agency finds out a person needs a bed for the night or information on healthcare, workers can simply check the system right away to see which agency can provide it, said Emily Bra from Our Family Services. That means we are serving the people who are most likely to die or be harmed tonight. If they don't get housed tonight, they are most likely to encounter some terrible thing. So those are the folks who are going to get housed first, and that is community-wide, Bra said. The new coordinated entry system has been in place for a few months. Bra says lives have been saved. Many contractors and individuals finalizing construction on homes or home projects always want to know when the inspector will be at the job site. A new service provided by Pima County Development Services is helping eliminate the uncertainty of the inspection process. There is now a county website for making requests 3 days in advance for an inspection. Rich Franz Under with the Pima County Development Services says the website allows contractors to track inspection schedules. If you're working on 2 or 3 projects, which is not uncommon for a contractor, Franz Under said, you can go to your first project in the day and then make sure you're at the project where the inspection is happening when the inspector is there. When someone submits a request, they are notified by 4:30 p.m. the day the request is made, telling them when approximately the inspector will arrive. Franz Under said this will help people who are remodeling their homes avoid missing days from work waiting for an inspector. No one wants to lose a day from work. Now, as a homeowner, you can tell your boss, look, I got an inspection coming tomorrow. He said, I'll know by 5 what time I'll need to be at my house instead of taking a whole day off from work. You can say, I need to be off in the morning, or I need to take an extra long lunch, or I need to leave a little early. Inspectors will have a list of places, and once they complete the inspection, the information is uploaded to the website for the customer's convenience. Pima County plans to include a customer web portal for communication between claims and customers. Okay. In national and international news, which has been dominated by Donald Trump, while here at 5 on 20, we'll just continue that trend. A California federal judge ruled last Monday that a January executive order from the president cannot be enforced by the Trump administration. This executive order would cut funding from the cities that limit cooperation with immigration officials, often referred to as sanctuary cities. U.S. District Judge William H. Orrick wrote a 28-page decision blocking the White House from enforcing the policy nationwide because it was unconstitutional on its face. Orrick wrote the Constitution vests the spending powers in Congress, not the president. The White House could not constitutionally place new conditions on federal funds. Tucson leaders unanimously voted in December that Tucson is an immigrant-friendly community. When mentioning why Tucson was not a sanctuary city, Mayor Jonathan Rothschild said, "It's a term that has no definition and is being used to inflame passions on both sides." Tucson City Attorney Mike Rankin spoke in agreement with Mayor Rothschild. There's really no legal definition for a sanctuary city. It's not a fixed term, and it ends up meaning different things to different people across the political spectrum. Rankin said that the larger issue is that without a strict definition, a single federal official like Sessions could still seek a way to halt federal funding, even as a city believes it's following the law. Tucson leaders have instead outlined a narrow policy that limits when Tucson Police Department officers can contact immigration authorities, a regulation made necessary especially after the fallout of Arizona's controversial anti-immigration law, widely known as SB 1070. If police officers suspect that a person is in the country without authorization, they may contact immigration officials, including U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement and U.S. Border Patrol, unless doing so would prolong or stop detention. In less shocking news, there is chaos somewhere in the White House. It was a confusing Monday at the offices of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or the CFPB, as two individuals claimed to run the agency. On Friday, the director of the agency, Richard Caldray, announced his resignation and named his deputy, Leandra English, as the new interim director. However, over the weekend, President Trump named Mick Mulvaney, who was Trump's head of the Office Management and Budget, as the CFPB's new director. If that wasn't confusing enough, both English and Mulvaney are now claiming to head the agency. On Monday morning, Mulvaney showed up to the office with donuts and told employees to disregard any of English's instructions. Donuts will always win. English filed suit on Sunday night asking for a declaratory judgment and a temporary restraining order to finally settle the case of who is actually running the agency. English cited the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010, which states that the deputy directing becomes the acting director under law. She argues that Trump's appointment doesn't apply when another law designates a successor. The issue stems from a political argument over the Consumer Bureau, which has been controversial since its founding in 2010. The agency was created after the financial crash of 2008 and was the brainchild of Senator Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Republican foe who is eyeing a presidential run in 2020. Republicans have been open about their aims to dissolve the agency, which they view as overzealous and interfering with businesses' ability to operate freely. Cordray was often criticized by Republicans, especially when he targeted Wells Fargo by fining the bank a record $185 million over its creation of false accounts to boost sales figures. Since Cordray appointed English, Trump sought to curb the agency's strength by replacing her with Mulvaney, who was a former South Carolina congressman who founded the hard-right House Freedom Caucus. In the past, Mulvaney called the agency, which he's now running, a joke in a sick, sad kind of a way. He's expected to dismantle much of the agency's powers. Sexual harassment claims have exposed a plague in our country. U.S. Representative John Conyers stepped down as senior Democrat on the House of Representatives Judiciary Committee following allegations of sexual harassment. Conyers, the longest-serving member of Congress, denies the allegations, but said that his presence during the Congressional Ethics Review would only serve as a distraction. The House Ethics Committee said last week that it was investigating the office of Conyers, which was revealed to have financially settled the sexual harassment cases without admitting to guilt. The allegations come as Congress is reviewing their policies on how to handle sexual harassment complaints. This follows a string of allegations against prominent individuals such as Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein and fellow Democratic Senator Al Franken. Despite stepping down from the committee, Conyers resisted calls to step down from Congress. He continues to deny the allegations and says that his record will vindicate him. On Sunday, 12 women who said they previously worked for Conyers told reporters that he was a, quote, gentleman and never behaved in a sexually inappropriate manner in their presence. The violence in the Philippines continues. Security footage in the Philippines, capital of Manila, shows 3 men being shot by Philippine police and taking at least 25 minutes to bring them to the hospital. The anti-drug officers initially said that the 3 men were injured and then were rushed to the hospital, where they were pronounced dead on arrival. However, the footage puts the officers' claims into doubt and further raises controversy into President Rodrigo Duterte's 17-month war on drugs. In June, Reuters revealed that the police have shot hundreds of people during the anti-drug operations, then took them to the hospital where they were pronounced dead on arrival. Police claim that they are trying to save lives, but the relatives of those killed say they are trying to cover up crimes. Police have shot dead at least 3,900 people since the anti-drug operations began in June of 2016. That's nearly 8 people a day. Human rights activists blame police for thousands more killings that are attributed to vigilantes who are encouraged by the president. Witnesses in the shootings of the 3 men, who were referred to as the Barangay 19, say that they were executed and not shot in self-defense, as the police claim. Also, in the surveillance footage, the police are seen turning the camera away from the shooting as it occurred. An active duty commander told Reuters earlier that year that the police collude with local officials to unplug security cameras in areas where they plan to carry out drug war killings. Moving on to financial news, the popular cryptocurrency Bitcoin has risen more than 1,000% in the past year, now trading for $10,000 per unit. The rise has coincided with volatile surges resulting from positive reports about its status, such as Japan recognizing Bitcoin as an official method of payment. The largest derivatives exchange operator, the CME Group, also announced that it would start offering Bitcoin futures, which would launch by the end of the year. This signals the acceptance from mainstream finance of Bitcoin, which was previously traded by the tech underground, and those looking to protect their privacy. But some investment analysts are still skeptical of the Bitcoin rise, claiming that it's yet another speculative bubble, such as the internet's early days. Chief Equity Strategist Bob Dole of Nuveen Asset Management said that I confessed it's an area that to me feels speculative, but you might call me old-fashioned. Right now, I would like to take a moment to talk to you about the program you're watching right now. Here at 5 on 20, we are undertaking a new kind of citizen journalism. We are going to give you the news as we see it, and we want more people to speak up with us. We need writers, hosts, anchors, camera people, sound people, the whole gamut. The times require a new way of informing ourselves, so join us. Do it. Do it now. Email us at info@creativetucson.org to get involved. If you think there's a story we're missing, a person we should interview, an upcoming event we should cover, or have any news tips for us, shoot an email to info@creativetucson.org. We are here for you, and we want to cover all stories from all points of views. So don't be strangers. This was 5 on 20 News with Jamain M. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all of our social media accounts for all the latest Creative Tucson news and content. Feel free to bother us at info@creativetucson.org. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 9 for Locals Only with Juju Fontaine. Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson. I saw Juju Fontaine.
Words and believe them all. Murder.